Greetings my friends, today I will discuss with you the gas crisis in Europe. Who is to blame for that? In this video you will receive my point of view on this topic. The gas crisis on the European continent is gaining momentum, and these events I find horrifying. Who would have thought that such a difficult time may come with gas in prosperous Europe? There are many factors of this crisis, but, as always, accusations of creating a gas shortage against Russia are heard. However, the head of the Eastern Committee of the German economy, Hermes, categorically disagrees with these accusations against Russia. Hermes, in support of his words, gave several arguments that from his point of view the Western public should be convinced of the innocence of the Russian side, at least of what the European Union leadership and the European media accused it. So, according to Hermes, the main reason for the gas crisis in Europe was an attempt to restore the European Union economy after the lockdown and the cessation of liquefied natural gas supplies by the Americans, and a decrease in supplies from Norway and Qatar, and insufficient gas reserves in underground storage facilities. And all of this has led to a sharp rise in gas prices in Europe. In fact, now only Gazprom is trying to help Europe. It not only fulfills contracts but also gives the Europeans an additional volume of gas. Of course, the Russian company could still increase the volume of supplies in order to somewhat cool the overheating of the gas markets. But whether Gazprom does it or not, this is the personal business of the company and not an obligation. Especially against the background of the bad attitude of the European Union towards Russia, where they are accusing Russia of terrible things to which it completely had nothing to do with. And what is interesting is that the European Union, which should try with all its might to regulate the emerging energy crisis in Europe, interferes and fights with its only assistant, the Russian company Gazprom. Who should be more worried about today's European crisis? European Union officials or a Russian gas company? Why is Europe suffering from the gas crisis but doing nothing to overcome this crisis? Nord Stream 2 has been built, which could relieve tensions in the European gas market. However, the European Union is stubbornly slowing down the launch of the gas pipeline. It's not Russia that deliberately creates agitation and shortages in order to quickly certify and launch Nord Stream 2. Russia can't wait for the launch of Nord Stream 2 as long as it wants. This situation can hardly hurt it. The crisis is now in Europe, not in Russia. The gas pipeline was built not for Russia, but for its Western partners, and they invested their money in this construction. Moreover, the new pipeline was not built for this winter, but for a long time. Now let the European Union take care of the speedy commissioning of Nord Stream 2. It will not be difficult for Russia to let gas through this pipeline so that Europe will quickly get out of the crisis.
Perfect.